Hi guys, I'm Ashish and you are watching me on Medical with Me India, and today I'm going to discuss something which is very new and but very important also, that is the research progression. So everybody who is in the field of MSc, BSc or a kind of PhD or research work have a biggest question that how to start a research work. So my main focus today is to introduce you to how to start a research work and what comprises of the research. Suppose if you are doing something at home, that is also a research, but what is the difference between the research which you are doing in the like kind of college or you are kind in the institution and that you are pursuing in the like kind of day-to-day life. So day-to-day life comprises of the research which you are doing to do something new. Suppose there is a word in Hindi that is jugaad. Jugaad is nothing but the outcome of research that you are doing in the day-to-day life. So that research and this research is quite different. What happens if you are doing research in an institution? You have to take the ethical clearance, and you have, suppose you are participating in a like kind of randomized control trial, then you have to have a registration number for that trial. So in this way, the research that you are doing in the institution is different from that you are doing in the day-to-day life. So the biggest question here is how to start the research and for whom to start the research. The premier thing in the research is that you are doing in the dissertation. Dissertation is something that is the part of your masters, or you can say the MSc if you are doing, or kind of MA or anything. That is the pioneer of the research that is done in the dissertation. So you can see the research work in three different eras. First is the dissertation, second is the research fellow as a post of like research assistant, lab technician, junior research fellow, senior research fellow, research associate, everything that is the comprised of the research staff. And the third one is the PhD, where you are doing for a degree, that is the PhD, doctorate degree. So guys, the biggest question is now how to start any research work. So let's do it. You all know I'm Ashish and I'm PhD scholar at AIMS, and today I'm going to discuss about the research and what comprises of the research and how to start a research and how to get into it and how to get the result. So everything I'm going to cover. Please stay tuned, and this video will be going to like of 15 minutes, so stay tuned. First is the title. So what happens, suppose if you are thinking of to start any research, then first you have to lay down a title. So title is basically the heading, or you can say the introduction, or it is the summary of the research that you are doing. Title is something that is the precursor of the research. Okay, suppose here a hypothetical title, that is effect of X intervention. Intervention can be anything same, I mean that can be drug, that can be any therapy or anything. On Y condition can be suppose physiological condition, anatomical condition, anything, and Z is a disease. So effect of X intervention, suppose effect of aspirin on Y, suppose the pain. So effect of aspirin on pain in X disease suppose is the corona disease. Okay, so what happens, effect of aspirin on pain in corona disease. This is rubbish, but this is a hypothetical title which I have laid down. So now after laying down the title, you have to just introduce a null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is the hypothesis that is supposed to be kind of like the outcome, supposed to be the result. Okay, so X intervention, suppose is the aspirin is supposed to ameliorate pain in X condition, okay, Z condition, Z disease. So this is the hypothesis. So title and hypothesis, these are two basic important things which you need while you are going into the research. So title and hypothesis, please remember, these two are different, because title is something that is actually the mirror of the research, and hypothesis is the outcome based title. So this is the difference between title and hypothesis. Second is the review of literature. While you are doing the research, you have to look into the papers, articles, that what work has been done till now and what you have to do. Suppose if you are doing a research and that is going on in any place, suppose any institution, they are already doing. So this is what the collision of the research work. So to avoid this kind of collision, why collision is important? Suppose if you are doing a research work and that same research work is going on in an institution that is different from yours, then what happens, that institution will publish the paper first, and you all know that if the paper is published, then your work has nothing importance, because that has been published that will should not be considered by any article, okay, or journal. So the review of literature is very very important part of the research. So now what happens while reviewing the literatures, you have to consider these 3-4 things. First is the case. Case is the disease on which you are going to work. Not many times the disease is important in the research work. Sometimes what happens, observational studies are done where there is no need of any condition. Suppose if you are like kind of indulged in the research in which you are trying to emphasize on the condition or mechanism based study, then the case is not required. Okay, so intervention is the second thing. Intervention, suppose if I am going to give yoga therapy, then yoga is the intervention. So you have to know about what is the impact of yoga in the case. Suppose the case is the what? The pain. So in pain, how yoga is important. So you have to learn that how many research work has been done in the field of yoga and related to the condition or pain. Then the pathophysiology, you have to look into all the pathophysiologies behind the disease and behind the mechanistic effect of the intervention. Suppose you have to know about how yoga is going to ameliorate the disease and how yoga is going to control the symptoms of the disease basically. And fourth important thing is the treatment strategy. Which are available and which should be the future perspective. So these 4 things should be reviewed under the literature or publications. So this should be clear about all these things, so that to avoid the collision with the other research work going in an institution other than yours. Okay, so guys, now after reviewing the literature, you have the lacuna. What is lacuna? Lacuna is something which you do not have found out in the review of literature. So suppose any condition in which every symptoms has been studied, but what happens, you find a symptom that has not been studied. So you just carry out that symptom which is not studied anywhere. So that will be your lacuna. So not studied is lacuna, studied is review of literature. Okay, so understand these are the 2 sides of the coin, same coin. So guys, about lacuna, this should be like 1 2 3, any number of lacuna you can get, minimum 1 2 should be there. So lacuna will relate all the outcomes, all the conditions. Suppose Y is the kind of condition, Z is kind of disease, A is kind of suppose anything symptom or strategy, and X is the intervention. So you have to relate all these things with respect to each other. Okay, so that the lacuna can be extracted from the review of literature. So lacuna is the outcome of review of literature in simple language. So now what happens, you have to lay down the aim and objective. Aim should start with the to study. Nothing difference between the aim and the title, but what happens, the to study prefix is added to the title. So to study the effect of X intervention on Y condition in Z disease is the aim. Okay, right, in this manner. This thing, why I am telling, because you can use this PPT for your reference while doing the presentation for your research work, and title presentation, protocol presentation, anything can be done with this kind of slide. So guys, now to fulfill the aim, you have to lay down different objectives. Objectives should be kind of 2-3, and suppose if you are going to study the effect of intervention on Y condition, there should be some mechanistic approach. So those approaches to clarify or to describe the condition based on the intervention should be the objectives. Objectives should be 1 2 3 and as many as objectives you can include, but that should be the crux. Okay, so guys, materials and methods becomes important part while doing the research, so that should be clearly mentioned. Okay, materials may you have to study the case, number of patients, and type of study. Suppose type of study is a randomized control trial, then you have to mention how is the randomization is done, how is the allocation in different groups can be done. Sample size should be clearly mentioned, because sample size is very important. Too much sample size will make chaos, and that will be the wastage of money, and small and number of participants will be irrelevant, because that is not biostatistically proven, and that will cause the hindrance in publishing an article of your research work. Inclusion and exclusion criteria becomes very important. What kind of conditions should be in the patient and what kind of conditions should not be in the patient, that should be clearly. Feasibility means कि the work you are doing, what is the future perspective and how is it important in the human welfare. Okay, and so what this feasibility means कि the research you are doing is in direction in the field of science or medicine. Okay, so the fifth one is the technical details. Technical details will cover all the techniques, details of the techniques, protocol, how the technique will be implemented in the patients or in the like kind of animal model. Okay, and the sixth number is the methodologies. All the methodologies which you are taking to derive the conclusion with the technique should be mentioned clearly. So methods should be clearly mentioned. Technical details means techniques and methodologies means methods. Okay, so now guys, workflow and study design becomes very important. Workflow means a rough outline of your work, and study design is the detailed outline of your work. Okay, so this is the difference between workflow and study design. Study design may you have to consider all the groups and you have to explain the description group wise description should be there, what you are going to do at the day 0 and what you are going to do at the day 30. So it is the explained way of schematic kind of paradigm. So this is explained paradigm in the schematic format. So study design should be very clear and very descriptive and very direct. You do not have to insert everything, but you have to just focus on the intervention and some outcomes, techniques you can write in the separate text box. All the techniques should not be written there, because then what happens, the slide will be very much busy. So you have to avoid the busyness of the like experimental paradigm or the study design. You just make it very simple so that a layman person can understand very easily for your slide. Okay, then the finalizing the work. Suppose you have all the thing you have done the techniques, you have done all the methods, you have completed the research work, what I am going to say. Then what happens, you have to finalize the work by result and then the data analysis using the software or anything you can use, or you can take help of the statistician if you are in MSc. And then you are going to make the conclusion of the research work, what you have done. Conclusion should be the inferences. So inferences, what you have done can be given in the 1-2 line. And then the discussion actually dignify what is the impact in the physiological and anatomical basis of your research work. So what is the like approach, or what is the mechanism of the intervention that you have given? That should be the like hypothesized, not direct, but the hypothesized, or you can say a like gesture that this mechanism should be there to ameliorate the disease or ameliorate the symptom. Okay, so this is the finalizing the work, and then I would like to thank you all for your kind attention. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Please guys, I am just reaching 1000 subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you want to connect with me, then these are the social media handle where you can join us. Okay, thank you guys, thank you so much.